What is some of your best, or what are some of your best money-saving life hacks?
Money saving.
Don't spend it.
Don't get married.
Don't get married is really good. That's really
Don't get married.
Don't get married.
Don't go out to eat.
Be alone the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's really good. That'll save a lot.
But what if your wife is like more frugaler than you?
Well, then you win the lottery, Joe.
No, I'm not. I mean, Hannah's the girl. She still spends. But like, there are gems out there where the female's more frugaler than the male.
Then that's amazing.
When your chick, okay, are you ready for a real one?
Yeah.
When you know your chick is gonna go, she wants to go to Target. You go to Target. 30 minutes prior to that, you hide all the pillows in there. Fucking one. And they'll just be like, "Oh, the pillows. I guess they're out of pillows today." You know?
He's a pillow collector.
Oh, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Here's a good one that I liked, and it has to do with buying things outside of your your routine necessities like paper towels and soap or whatever. Yeah. The first one that I liked was don't buy anything unless you can buy 2 of them. Because people will be like, "Oh, I'll save up all my money to buy like a Rolex or whatever." Well, you can't really afford it if you can't buy 2.
But I could buy 10.
So make sure. Then that's fine. Then
What if I saved up to buy 2 Rolexes?
Then you have enough money to afford it. Because a lot of
Hacked his
people
little system.
they stretch their dollar. They stretch how much they have, and they have an imaginary world of what they can afford, but they can't actually do that. And then they want to just keep up with the Joneses.
Okay.
That's a good one.
And the other one is anything outside of your necessities is however much you're about to spend on this new toy, you spend that same amount in an investment first. So stocks, crypto, or whatever. So like, let's say you're like, "Oh, there's this really cool camera I've been wanting to get." And it's like 2 G's. Well, put 2 G's in this first, and then you can buy that thing.
I also think that if you focus on one thing first, like as an actual nest egg to like, actually establishing your portfolio, I would start with real estate. Like immediately. And I just mean like do that first initial save to buy real estate. And after you get the base layer of like one property that's yours, and if you can live in its primary residence, that's even better. But like then you can start building wealth from there. But that should be the number one place you start, in my opinion.
Another thing is people need to keep their jobs.
Yeah.
Smart.
That's a good one.
Keep their jobs.
I mean, if you could you could hop from job to job.
Yeah.
But there'll be unemployed ass motherfuckers trying to talk about investment advice. You don't got money to invest with in the first place. Like, why are you trying to be a millionaire? Like, yo, what is the best investment that I could get into right now? I got about $130.
Yeah, I want to be a paper millionaire in about 2.5 years.
And it's like, dude, you don't even got enough money to play. Get a fucking job. Oh, but I don't want to work for the man. I ain't gonna do no. Like I hear this shit so much. It's like, "Hey Joe, man, I wanna teach me some business advice," and I'm like, "Okay, what experience do you got?" "Nah, man, I'm not trying to fucking work. I'm trying to be an entrepreneur." Well, you gotta learn how a business runs, and the best way to do it is by having a job. You could work in the company and pretend as if it's your own, and you could learn everything about it on their dime. Like, why would you want to risk your own capital and fucking lose it all? It's just get a fucking job.
Legit.
Everyone's so allergic to jobs right now. They don't want to fucking work or whatever. They just want to go straight into, I don't know, like a fucking internet scam, or let me just make some quick money real quick online. I'm gonna drive Uber. I'm never gonna work for someone. I'm gonna be my own boss. Like everyone, they want to hashtag hustle. And I'm like, you don't even know the basics. So get the basics down. When you have extra money, then you know how to save that. But how do people even get to extra money? Because I don't know, man. A lot of what I see is like they spend with their feelings and think about it later.
Yeah. I think what they're asking is more like money saving life hacks. Not really like how do I get rich.
Oh, like how to
If I have X amount of money.
like credit card points.
Yeah, like little things.
Credit card points. Eventually, you can save up enough to have like free flights. Somewhere.
Yeah, or just like little tips on like
I think like Anthony was saying this morning, using your debit card everywhere and sleeping on credit card points is dumb. but you have to be disciplined enough to know to pay that shit off every month and not miss.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you're playing with fire.
Which you can take advantage of. Yeah, just auto payments.
auto pay.
And there's stupid motherfuckers out there that'll tell you old wives' tale about building credit. They'll be like, all right, what you want to do is you want to max out your credit card so you have a high balance and you don't pay it off. What you do is you pay the minimum every month
That's
because
so
then you
much.
show
No
that you
way.
could. It's like, no, motherfucker. You always keep your credit way below under 50% of what your limit is.
Shit, actually.
And you always, whenever you qualify for it, you always get an increase to your credit line.
Yeah.
As for all of your credit lines, because the difference is, let's say you have a $10,000 credit line and then you've spent like $1,000, that you have a $1,000 balance on your credit card. The credit companies will look at that as you've spent 10% of your credit. But let's say you've increased your credit line
Which
to
affects your credit score accordingly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
so. But if you increase and now you have like $20,000 in credit line and you have a $1,000 balance, that's only 5%. So it's like you effectively use the same money, but just by increasing your credit line, it looks like you've used less of your credit.
But by the way, don't get a $10,000 credit line and put $30 on in a month because you're only paying your gas with it or whatever, being a careful boy. Like, that also can hurt you.
And then I think this is an unsexy one, but I think the very first thing for me in terms of like saving money was like learning tax system. Like when you actually learn how to do taxes a certain way and you gamify it so it's a fun thing. Because saving money is essentially the same as making money. And like when you understand taxes and you understand like how to categorize things or like what's a good write-off, how much can I push this limit? How far can I write this off? And you're like, oh, I didn't have to pay that much. That shit was so satisfying to me to be like, F the man, I'm not giving you all of my shit. Only because I got screwed the last year, you know, and thinking that like, you know, I was like, oh dude, I saved like 60 grand this year. Like this is the best year I've ever saved money. And then Uncle Sam comes and takes 30 something thousand and I gotta pull half of it out of savings. And I think to myself, I'm like, dude, I can't get out of this rat race. So I think first understanding taxes and changing that so I wasn't getting screwed every single year and feeling like just demolished.
Yeah.
That became the like, okay, cool, what did I save? And then that gave me options to think what's next. And for me, my style is automatic investments is helpful for me because I might not be able to like take like all my money this week and be like, how do I break it down? But instead, if I just go like automatic, this is how much I weekly want to invest in all these things, that it's auto, then what ends up being in my bank account is what I have left anyway. So it's like the smart stuff is already done and I'm not thinking about it. If I have it, that's what I have.
And by the way, we're not coming at you as gurus right now. It's because we fucked up before on this stuff. So we know a little bit about it. Like, dude, the credit thing, like, used to put my head in a tailspin because I just completely, like, I remember when I was like 21, I was putting my girlfriend through college at the time. Dumb fuck shit. And like putting everything on the credit card, right? And then when I got my credit card increased, because it was like, oh, you're using your card a lot. We want to increase your credit line. I was like, we're Gucci, baby. And like, I just kept on, you know, I basically gave her the credit card and let her charge whatever the fuck she wanted on it, which was dumb. One day she did $450 on iTunes in a day.
What did she get?
Oh, I don't know, a bunch of fucking, you know,
Britney Spears album?
Steely Dan albums and shit like that. Like stuff I would never buy.
Steely Dan?
Yeah, stuff that's worthless to me.
Yeah.
Can't even repurpose it. Yeah,
Why,
tell me
dude?
about it. It's stuff like that, like Dave Matthews and shit like that.
It's on her account. It's
God,
not yours.
fuck off. Yeah, no, it was on mine. It was on my. I paid for it. So then, yeah, but you know, learning through that fiasco like really helped set me up. And then she married Dan Harmon later, so she didn't have to deal with any consequences. It was awesome.
Just identify her so well.
No, I don't remember who exactly it was.
Something like that. I agree with Anthony's. Like for me, taking my stupid brain out of it and me not rationalizing, oh, I should take this money and use it for something else, has been the game changer for me. Because it's like once I automate how much I'm going to invest in my Roth or my savings or whatever, I'll put that away. I don't have to think about it.
That's the
Because
best.
If I had to do it, it would never get done. No. And it's like the sooner you do it, the easier it's going to be. And then afterwards, you're going to be like, oh shit, I'm so glad I did this like 2 months ago because look at all this money I have in my account that is like growing for me or whatever.
By the way, if you have your own business, S Corp, if you contribute to your 401k, you can deduct that in taxes. Shit like that is dope.
Cliche phrase is pay yourself first, but then you hear like, what the fuck does that mean? But that's exactly what it is. It's putting, like, invest in yourself first before you even have spending money, and you'll thank yourself way later. Yeah.
Because you're gonna spend it on nonsense.
Yeah, you are.
Guaranteed. You'll really
If I just bought real estate in my 20s, which
For real.
was possible,
Yeah.
it would have changed my whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because as soon as you start thinking about buying real estate, you're like, why didn't I think about this when I was 20?
Exactly.
Dumb fuck.
Exactly.
And you do this to yourself in the mirror.
But I mean, even back then, California felt unattainable.
Yeah.
Like it's cheaper now than it. I mean, back then than it was, and than it is now. But it still felt like I don't know how I can ever afford this stuff.
Because I'm sure you get that all the time where people always say, like, I don't know how I'm going to afford this when they're asking for advice. But it literally is like, you better start now or you're never going to afford it.
But if you, like, let's say if you are from like a really high, like, let's say Honolulu, LA, New York, I would really encourage all the young folks to look out of state because it is hard. Like, you got to save up 200, 300 grand. Like, who can do that? Even on
Down
100K.
payment only.
Yeah, like even if you're making 100K, most people are on a W-2, right? So that means you're taking home 5K a month and you got to live off of 5K a month in a major city. Your rent's almost 3K or more for a fucking studio or 2-bed. So it's like, what the fuck are young families, all these people? It's like, you're talking about people who are pharmacists, lawyers, all that. These are good fucking jobs and they can't even afford a house in LA, Honolulu, New York. So then, like, yeah, I'm like, I think you should gentrify and raise up the prices of other states, and then they'll say, you fucking Californian. But I think that's the only way, right? There's no other option unless you guys house hack with like a couple of your homies and then you pitch in on a house.
That's
cool
Yeah, but can you live with roommates? You know, that's another thing
Dude,
too.
if you can endure and enjoy roommates or
Yeah.
endure living at home with your parents,
yeah.
Well, some people
as
have to.
long as possible.
Some people just have to.
Some people get real lucky because like after like 3 extra years of living at home, that like in LA, that's the equivalent to like 80 to 90 grand sometimes on like what you would have spent on rent.
Yeah.
That's your down payment.
And if
You
you gotta
know?
stay in a bad relationship for another year just because it's cheap, hell yeah, baby. Do it.
Oh, also,
All day.
if one hack too is if you can at least leave your address as your family home's address, if the car insurance is cheaper in that zip code.
Oh.
That's like a
Because if you go to like, let's say you move to LA or downtown or Glendale, it's gonna shoot up. It'll be cheaper, whatever small town.
If a
you came
family
from.
if a family member of yours is in the military, dump your car insurance and try to get USAA.
Whoa.
Seriously. That's been lit for me.
Military stuff sounds so fun.
USAA,
Yeah.
like, because like when me and Nikki got married, first thing I did was I was like, ditch your car insurance. You're getting on my plan right now because USAA is so much cheaper. Not a commercial, just how it is.
I save money switching to USA.
What about those VA loans?
Vietnam's pretty sick. It's like it was pretty sick before.
Sure.
It's pretty sick before, but now it's like sicker than ever. Cause like before it was like it already has 0% down, which is pretty crazy, and then you get the lowest interest rate possible, which is like sometimes could be 1 below what the national rate is. So if the national rate's at 6, you get at 5. And then the one thing that they had before, it was like proportional to like whatever the median home value is per state. So like if you lived in California, your cap might be like 700 grand of a loan, but you lived in like North Carolina, it might only be 300. Now there's like no cap. So now the really smart people are like straight up buying like a multi-family home, like with like 4 units on it for like 1.5 million because they can, with 0% down, and then they'll like house hack it and like fill it up with all these other people. There's all these people that are really good at it now.
The duplexing.
Yeah, and there's so many like military VA loan influencers that are teaching people this stuff. It's pretty cool.
Sick.
I think like if you think about just the basics, right? Well, for one, we're coming at it as an entrepreneur and freelancer mentality, where they can't write off a lot of shit if you have a job, if you're on a W-2.
Yeah.
But a good rule of thumb is figure out what you can tuck away for each paycheck. So like, let's say your paycheck is like $1,000 for every 2 weeks. If you can afford doing at least 10%, let's say $100, you just gotta tuck that away. And now there's
Stick
like,
to it. And stick to it.
and just stick to it. And most people can't do that. So when you talk about saving, right? And then this is the thing is when people talk about I need to invest or whatever, if you can't even get the basics down like that, like what makes you think you can gamble that money?
Right.
But that's and now we have other things like Robinhood, and we can actually access. We didn't have that growing up. We couldn't buy stocks. But at least now you can like tuck away money that is a higher percentage than like a savings account. Well, a savings sucked. You're gonna lose money every year. But before you even understand inflation, all that stuff, if you can't even get that first stage down, I think all this other stuff is too next level.
Yeah, you can't hack the system if you don't know how to hack your own self.
Yeah.
Like, how to like stick to
Your
something.
own system, yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever when I talk to clients about like nutrition and stuff, I always tell them like so much of it is just about your behaviors and like what you can get done. And the more I learn about like finance and personal finance, so much of it is just about your own behaviors. Like it's like how often can you save? Do you have like a saving habit? Do you have something that you could do consistently over time? Because I've talked myself out of like not doing it. Like, oh, I won't fucking put money away this month. I'll use it to like I've done so much of that nonsense to the point where I've like fucked myself over. In reality, it's like, dude, I wish I just stuck to just having this habit and doing it for over a longer period of time, and then I would have been in a much better place. But it's like I think you have to go through that so you could really learn. Because when people were telling me this in my 20s, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna be different. Those rules don't apply to me.
But it's also so slow and boring is what I realize. Like the older I get, I'm like the slow and boring is tried and true, and it does. It's like when they say you're tucking shit away for a rainy day, right? But when you're younger, you feel like you don't got that time because it's like $100 a month, every month. Like that's not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna get rich off of that, right? So you don't fucking do it. 20 years pass by and you go, oh, with the compound interest, tucking that away in an index fund would have been really nice by now.
And that's the game, is the compound.
That's the biggest hack. Just starting as early as possible.
How many times have you
If you guys are in high school or whatever, even on a minimum wage job, dude, like I show my employee this all the time. I'm like, all right, how old are you right now? They're like 17. All right, cool. Imagine if you put just $50 every week out of your paycheck in this like blue chip stocks, right? Or like you had a portfolio of just normal, safe. It's not gonna tank. And then I show them the fucking compound interest calculator, and I said, when you're 30 years old, this is how much you're gonna have. And they're like, oh, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm like, yeah, that's how it works.
But they go like, that's 13 years.
Yeah.
But I
I want to go to the
I'm
club
like-
this weekend.
Yeah, for real.
And get bottles served.
That was definitely me.
With these new Jordans on.
They rather buy fucking Pokemon cards or something for an investment.
Well, that could be big.
yeah,
that makes sense.
It can be.
Send me that.
Yeah. It can be, but I remember being that age too and going like, by the time I'm 30, I might as well be dead. That's so old. Now I'm the fucking uncle, 40 years old, telling them like, dude, just fucking do it. Yeah.
I always tell people too, if you want to get involved with crypto and you don't want to ever pay attention to it, you just want to get involved with crypto, you do what I call the tripod. You get Bitcoin, you get Ethereum, you get BNB. You just set it and forget it. You just like dollar cost average that shit every month and just don't even fucking think about it again.
Dude,
Like
20 years.
Yeah.
Like, and then that little tiny little nest egg, again, small to big, earn it. Always do a small amount of money so you're not risking everything. Like, you can lose a lot of money in crypto, but it's all about how much money you put in the first place. If you do a small amount, you try to build it into a bigger amount, right? You don't just try to punt a shitload of money. Like,
That's my job.
the people who do that will get annihilated doing that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I've never done that, but all respect, you guys are badasses, but like, I always do small to big. That's my whole thing.
Well, I mean, it's all about how much principal you get in. So the principal is how much money of your hard-earned cash that you put into the stock market or whatever. That's the amount, and then you kind of snowball it upwards. Hopefully,
I've never stressed a day in my life about crypto because I never put that much in.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole thing. Is like if you're any good at it, you can multiply the amount that you put in initially over time. And that's the whole idea. Just a couple of years instead of like maybe 20 years. Maybe it's like 5 years.
Yeah. Because when I say I'm like down, I actually don't count the unrealized gains and losses. Like to me, I just think of my principal.
Yep. Me too.
But other people do also look at it and they go like, well, what about the opportunity cost that you could have deployed that capital elsewhere? I'm like,
You can always do that in any investment.
anything.
But it's just about, do you have faith in that certain asset class?
Yeah.
So like I say, if you want to just set it, forget it, don't think about it. Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, right? Like just That's what I call the tripod. It's like a little base layer that's sturdy, right? And then if you want to touch altcoins, you do a very small amount compared to what you would do in Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB. Or if you're more risk, you're more into risk, you could start like scaling into altcoins, but you're scaling into altcoins. You're not fucking.
One book that helped me, it's a quick read. It's called Richest Man in Babylon. It's like a really quick novel, but it's an interesting like a story. And in that story, this guy, basically, he was a slave in his past life, and not his past life. He was a former slave that became the richest man. And they asked him like, how'd you do it and whatever. And through the story, he teaches you like, okay, when you get your paycheck, put this much amount, paying off your debt. You save this much, put it in your bank account, whatever. Super simple way of understanding basic finance. And it was an entertaining book. It wasn't like, because I think when it comes down to this stuff, it's fucking boring, right? But that was like one of the most interesting ways for me to learn about that and apply it to myself. And I got out of debt that way. And I owed about 30, 40 grand after college. Wow. So, yeah.
Richest Man in Babylon.
Yeah.
Tight.
Real quick, easy read.